This is Brad A. Milford with the Unlimited Business Wisdom Podcast, where leaders, seasoned entrepreneurs, and business owners share their wisdom. It's straight to the point to respect people's time, and because we know knowledge and wisdom turn to business possibility, and possibility mixed with support and action become reality. In this podcast, we discuss leadership, sales, marketing, operations, team development, quality, and finance to drive sustainable results and everlasting impact to make the world a better place. Thanks for joining us. Hey, Jonathan, welcome to the Unlimited Wisdom Podcast, business podcast, right? We're glad to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great.
Yeah, wonder to have you. I'm actually really interested. You're going to bring something a little different to this podcast through your experience, which anybody watching and listening will get to know here in just a minute. Jonathan, will you start us off by just sharing in a few sentences who you are and what you do?
Sure. Well, my name's Jonathan Rosenfeld. I am a 49-year-old, almost 49-year-old. I jumped the gun, attorney in Chicago. And I am the founder, managing partner, jack of all trades, maintenance person, and everything else at the law firm of my name, Rosenfeld Injury Lawyers. And we handle, all different types of personal injury, medical malpractice cases, mass torts, you name it. We are sort of involved in it. We handle quite a few cases, obviously in Chicago, but we also get involved with some mass tort cases nationally. So that's what I do professionally. Personally, I'm married, got 2 kids. Personally, I also love to do anything outdoors, anything active, anything that really gets me outside and keeps me away from a desk. I love. And so we can go on and about that, but that's sort of what that's a, typical day to day, lawyer, but also, doing everything else I can, to be active and, try to, stay physically fit and try to keep my mind, from getting too demented in terms of going down the, just grind all day track. So that's what I do.
Right on. And you have experience in a number of things too, as I've seen from your accomplishments. So we'll dive into those. Jonathan, how many years have you been in business for yourself, and what's the best thing for you about being in business? Probably staying away from those desks, I imagine.
Well, I mean, I think we are working on it. I think I started the law firm about 12, 13 years ago, and I worked. Prior to that, I've been an attorney for 20 something years, and I've only done personal injury work. And the unique thing about personal injury work, as opposed to other types of law, is that there's really an incentive to get business. There's incentive to get the cases resolved, and there's an incentive. You're mutually tied to your client's real interest, because everything's done on a contingency fee. So I obviously get a percentage of whatever I can recover for the client. And, what I sort of learned early on was that there's really, as opposed to other attorneys who may sit at a desk and bill out their time on an hourly time or whatever, our goal is to get the case, get it in the door, and get the case resolved for really as much money as we can, as quickly as possible. And that sort of, it really is motivating because, number one, obviously, a lot of times our clients are really sort of at the depth of despair. They've really had a significant problem. And our job is to take them from point A after the accident, through resolution. And that means, either settlement, trial, mediation. But that's sort of what we do and sort of what our focus is. And the beauty about the field of personal injury is that there is, in addition to having your legal skill set, there's a tremendous entrepreneurial aspect to it that I really, really enjoy. So I focus a lot of time on the business aspect of law, which is a little bit different than, some other attorneys who really may spend all their time practicing law. So I spent a lot of time, getting the phone to ring, getting people to our website, getting people, really involved. And that's really, something I enjoy. I love meeting people, but I also really do love the hunt.
I love that. That was one of the so you covered a lot there, but it was one of the things that piqued my interest about what you do and having you on the podcast, because I mean, you nailed it there. It was like, the whole peak is that there are a lot of lawyers who just do billable hours, right? But what you do is a little bit different. It's more entrepreneurial. And you said that, and I love that you said that and highlighted that. I mean, you got to be out there hustling and getting the sales, right? And serving the clients. And I love how you pulled that out, right? It's like, we're here to deliver a result for the client. And then you make a percentage based on that. So you've got to deliver the results as well, right? So I love that. And I know that it is enthralling for you on a regular and daily basis, I'm sure, ever changing. So that's great stuff, Jonathan. Shifting gears to a different kind of question. This is one of my favorite questions. You'll love this, Jonathan. We hear from other business owners. They're getting so much business that sometimes what comes with that is a little bit of overwhelm, or, some thoughts, like it can be a little bit chaotic when you're getting so much business. Would you be willing to share your thoughts on that topic?
Yeah. I mean, I guess number one, it sort of depends on really how you're wired, and, how everyone deals with things in a different way. I happen to sort of thrive on that, that energy, that sort of like, it's a little bit of an endorphin rush, when the phone rings. I'm not going to lie. I mean, it is. And for someone, like me, that's sort of got to keep the endorphins going, got to keep the energy going. And so I sort of thrive on that. And I enjoy it. Don't get me wrong. There are times where, Sunday morning or whatever, I wake up and, there's a call that came in, early on a Sunday morning, and I really don't feel like, reaching out to a client then. And that can be a drag, but, nothing's perfect. So I guess it just depends on sort of how you're wired and everything else. But the truth is that, I don't know, some basketball, I think maybe it was Kobe or someone said, like, when you're resting, some other guy's working. And that's sort of how I, think in the back of my head, hey, you know what? It's a great position to be in, and you should be grateful for it. And you should take advantage of the situation, because you never know, really what's around the corner. And it's just really important to just keep that, aggressive, hungry mindset, because, like I said, if you're not, some other person will. And you know what? Like I said, I just thrive on it. It's just something that I don't know, maybe in 5 or 10 years, I'll get maybe sick of it. But for right now, I'm really enjoying it.
I'm catching that vibe from you, Jonathan. I am. So I see you like the energy. And that's great. I love it. So I think you have great points. For some people, maybe they don't want that. But some people love that energy, and they want it more and more and more business. But the truth is, you said it. I mean, if you don't grab it, somebody else is going to. So there's an aspect of that in entrepreneur. Any entrepreneur who's listening or watching knows, yeah, that is very true, right? There's plenty out there for us, but we've got to get the opportunity when it's out there. Great stuff. What do I also love, and I wanted to highlight this for just a quick moment, is, you didn't say it's all like, it's not all rainbows and roses either. Some of those calls come in at inopportune times, and like, that's the real. So you're being real here, and I love that. And I didn't want to just zip over it and overlook it. Like, hey, we got to take the challenging with the good, right?
You got to take the good with the bad, and anyone who says, oh, it's just, easy, and every contact, every call, every person who contacts me is a great, case or whatever, is full of it.
That's internet stuff.
Yeah, it just doesn't happen like that. You got to sort through a lot of junk to get to those diamonds. So it's just how it is.
That's that fake stuff they put on the internet. Jonathan, who else successful like yourself, of course, should be on the Unlimited Wisdom podcast?
I mean, look, there's so many people out there who honestly are skilled and have, I guess one of the things that I've just, as I've gotten older, that I've sort of come to appreciate is that, you can learn a lot from, other people in all aspects of life. It doesn't have to be one of these people who's like, out there, maybe has a huge personality on TV or on the internet. A lot of times, I can learn from, right now I'm in Florida and I'm working with some contractors. And honestly, I look with them a lot of times with admiration because they're so calm and they're not like, I'm thinking about 55 things at a time and they're focused on, making a perfect angle cut. Okay. And so, I could say I can name a zillion people, but the truth is that every single person out there has their own unique skill set. And everyone, if you pay attention to them and you get to know them, you can really pick up a lot of pieces that, really may get glossed over. We live in a world today where, we put a lot of these people up on pedestals and, we look at them and whatnot. But the truth is that there's so many different aspects that people's lives that we can appreciate if we just take the time to get to know them. So that's sort of what I have come to learn in my old age.
I love your answer. It's very thoughtful, and zeroes into, hey, everybody has a unique, what I say, unique brilliance, right? Everybody has a uniqueness to them. And so we can learn from everyone. Great answer, Jonathan. Thanks for sharing. Let's get to the crux of this, right? So you have a vast amount of experience and knowledge, and I know it's probably challenging to pick one point, but what piece of wisdom, Jonathan, would you share with other business owners?
Probably, the one thing that I would say is just consistency. Consistency. A lot of times people, they have some success and then they may encounter some difficulties and they start, throwing the towel. They may move on to a different business. They may, change up they have a partner or something like that. They may change up their partner. A lot of times sometimes that's helpful and sometimes that's needed. But, the one thing that I've really learned is that the people who have, long-term success are the people who I sort of, look up to. Those are people who sort of just keep chipping away day after day after day. And, even when things are not going as they planned or as they'd like, they keep moving forward. And I think that you got to just do sort of take one step at a time, put one foot in front of the other, and just keep moving in that direction. Even really, really, really small, bits of growth over a long-term period can make a tremendous impact. So that's something that I just really, try to do all the time. One of the things I'm working on right now is I'm working on some, website optimization things. And, if you look at it on the surface, it can be somewhat discouraging because, we're talking about, a 1% gain here. But if you multiply the 1% by the 0.5%, by the 1.2%, with all these different things, it really can add up. And so that's sort of a long-winded way of saying, again, just keep going for those small improvements. And I think that that's sometimes something that a lot of times people lose sight of. People are looking for, the get rich quick scheme or the more instant gratification type business plan. And that's great if you're, blessed enough to have that work for you. But for most of us, for myself included, who are just mere mortals, you got to just keep chipping away at things. So that's something that I do and that I really just encourage other people to do on a daily basis.
I love that. There's no way that I could love that more, Jonathan. It's the small habits, the small tasks repeated daily that lead towards success. I mean, I know you're tapping into habits there. You're tapping into rituals and rigor and discipline and all these things that can be challenging for people as we can see everywhere. Just look around, everybody can see it, right?
Yeah,
but it's really important. It's really important stuff that you're sharing here. And what I love about what you said, I mean, I'm a metrics guy, so that you speak my language, right? 1% difference. there's local and global, but the 1% difference, that you're changing now adds up over time and consistently, like you said. And it makes a huge difference in the overall outlook, right? Optimization. You don't get to optimization without going through small incremental changes. So great points. Excellent points. Jonathan, what would you look for when building business relationships with others? Because I know doing what you do, it's likely all about relationships. So I turn the mic to you.
No, it is. And, frankly, I'm not one of these people, who look a tremendous amount at someone's resume. I don't care if you graduated first, second, 50th, 100th, 500th in your class, and, high school, college, law school, it doesn't make a difference to me. I'm sort of looking for someone who's got a mindset and a desire to grow, to improve, and to just, show up and do whatever it takes to get the job done. There's a lot of very skilled, very bright people out there, but they're really, when push comes to shove, they're not really willing to dive in and go to battle and just do whatever it takes to get the job done. So the people that I work with, a lot of the people I work with, I've probably been known for 10, 15 years, if not more. And they're long-term relationships. And it's not that I'm shut off from meeting new people or anything, but that's sort of, these are people that, we've worked with, we know, we've come to trust, it's sort of a mutually beneficial relationship. I know when they, not everything goes as, obviously like we'd love it to, but I know they're really putting the effort in, and I know they're, doing that. And that goes a long way in my book. I don't really care, if, like I said, if you, it doesn't make any difference to me or to a client if you aced, your torts exam in law school. It's really about the real world, getting stuff done. And that typically means, again, what we spoke about before, just showing up, being sincere, treating people with respect. That's a big thing for me. I don't really want to work with someone who's a jerk. And a lot of times if they're treating me, not particularly well, I guarantee you they're not treating the client well. And in today's world, you have to treat people well. Not only is it, just bad business and tacky and whatnot, but if you don't treat people well, they're going to go online and they're going to slam you all over the place. So it's really, really important that we have a good reputation. So at the end of the day, if you can, if you're nice, if you show up and you just work, it's pretty basic, but those are things that really, make a difference and really make, for a long-term relationship with me.
I love it. Wake up, show up, rise up, and do the work, and roll up your sleeves. And I'm catching all of what you're, what you're sharing here. It's like, but be kind about it. You don't have to be a jerk. And they sound like simple, but I believe simple is brilliant, Jonathan. I truly mean that. What you're saying here, we could say this every day, all the time, and there's still jerks out there, and it just amazes me. So it may be simple, but it's great advice to anybody in business. We're in the people business, so this is good stuff, and I love that you're sharing this. Look, we're going to shift gears here in just a second, and then we're going to ask you to share your information as well. But for the length you've been in business and everything, and where you are right now, what advice would you give to a business person that's looking to expand their business? I know you know all about that, Jonathan.
I would really, there's a couple things I would do. Number one, I would put aside, some time, whether it's on a daily basis, weekly basis, whatever it is, and dedicate that solely to business development. A lot of times people are so caught up with the day-to-day operation of their business They come home, they put their, feet on the couch, and they're like, I'm done. That's it. And, it's really important that you just put aside some time, and, it could be talking to another business owner. It could be, looking online and seeing what your competitors are doing, either on the website, if it depends on what field you're in, but, look around, spend a lot of time thinking about looking at what others people are doing, and don't start doing other stuff during that time. So that's number one. Number two, what I would do is I would sort of focus on, I'm big believer in sort of doubling down on your strengths, or doubling down on whatever, your your sort of niches, because in today's world, it's you really can't be a jack of all trade. I don't care if you're, a plumber. I don't care if you're, if you're a car salesperson or whatever, or an attorney or whatever. You got to have a specific, niche. And that sort of can be the differentiating sales point for your business. And so if you do those two things, then there's 10,000 other, steps you can go in, but those are two things that are relatively easy, and they're pretty easy to grasp, for most people. And so I would just tell people to start there.
I love it. Double down on your strengths, get niched. Great place. I mean, it's great advice. It's great. The market everywhere, you see it all the time. And I'm like, what are you doing? Nobody knows what you're doing. Every day it's a different thing. And so I totally relate to what you're saying, and I see it too. So I appreciate you. Jonathan, we're going to switch gears to one of my favorite questions. I believe that we work to live and not, live to work, right? So I know you're in Florida right now, but what's the most fun vacation you have ever had in all these years of business?
Well, I do, I'm not going to say I'm not one of these people that avoids taking a vacation, but I do like taking time off, and I really do like getting, even, for me, there's really no such thing as disconnecting fully. Everywhere I go, I have my trusty phone with me, and that's just part of my existence, for better or worse. But 2 years ago, I went with my wife and my daughter. My son, unfortunately, he was at camp, but we went to Greek islands and to Italy, and we just had a great time. It was super. Obviously, I'm a sucker for warm weather, sun, and salt water. So, right there, that's the golden trifecta for me. So, and then if you mix in some really good food and wine on top of that, I'm a really happy guy. And it was great, because, also just the change of environment, change of scenery, obviously is great, but also, because of the time change, I wasn't constantly looking at my phone, because it's a 8-9 hour change from where I am. So I would, I really wasn't tempted to look at my phone all day, as sometimes I am here. So that was a nice, break of everything. And I'm just a big believer in sort of getting out of your element. Sometimes, a lot of times, you get in a rut, and it doesn't have to be a, exotic trip, but just going somewhere for a day or 2 days can really help reset things. So that was a great vacation, but I'm up for anything.
I love it. I love it. Great story. And get out of your comfort zone. Good points all throughout the podcast. Roll up your sleeves, get out of your comfort zone, get out there, get niched. Like, just great business advice all the way through. Jonathan, personal injury, I know it's important, and I happen to know that in your industry, it's constant education of people in this industry they don't know, like you do, right? Lots of frequently asked questions and educating the clients and customers and things like that. So I want to encourage people, when they hear this, they have questions, or they're, maybe they've been hesitant to reach out to someone, I want to encourage them to reach out to you, right? Make a connection with you, ask you a question, get on your website, like that you're optimizing now, and all those types of things. Like, go check it out. So when they do listen, watch this, and this resonates with them, and they may need you, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you, John?
Well, thank you. The best way to reach me is on rosenfeldinjurylawyers.com. You can look that up, Google Rosenfeld Injury Lawyers, whatever you like. You can check me out on YouTube, Rosenfeld Injury Lawyers. We also have done some podcasting. But if anyone has a question or whatever, feel free to reach out. I don't even know how to send a bill. So, there's tons of information out there, and don't hesitate to reach out.
I love the humor too. It's great stuff. Good stuff. I want to encourage you. Yeah, reach out, ask them a question, ask them how to build a business, throw a question at them, just open the door, do something different. Don't just listen or watch the podcast and not do anything. Actually reach out and have a conversation with someone. So Jonathan, I want to thank you. In your busy, busy day, you took a chunk out of your day to be here to serve. And that is meaningful to me, and it's meaningful to everybody listening and watching. So I want to thank you for that. I want to celebrate you for that. Kudos to you, and thanks for joining us on the Unlimited Wisdom podcast. This is Brad A. Milford with the Unlimited Business Wisdom podcast, where leaders, seasoned entrepreneurs, and business owners share their wisdom. If you're looking for more on leadership, sales, marketing, or operations to drive team development, higher quality, and high-level sustainable profits, we encourage you to join the Built for Brilliance community on Facebook, or reach out to us about one of our mastermind groups, coaching or consulting, or even fractional COO services. You can reach us at buildbrilliance.net/contact. We thank you for listening, for sharing the show, and appreciate your rating and reviews, as this makes more shows possible. Thanks for joining us.